We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Viddhishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are doing Panchadasi, chapter 5, Mahavakya Viveka Prakaranam. This chapter consists of 8 verses. It contains the basic essence of all the Upanishads, which is the Mahavakya. Many students, they study Tattvabodha, Atma Bodha, and then they leave. Some people come up to Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters. Then after that, they stop. Some people, they do 1 Upanishad or 2 Upanishads, and then they stop. There are some people who complete all the Upanishads. All the students generally, this topic of Veda is extremely subtle. That is the reason, right in Tattvabodha itself, Shankaracharya emphasizes the importance of purity of mind. If the mind is very gross, it will only be able to understand the gross world. That is what happens to 99.9% of the population. They are only aware of the gross objects, the gross world. Very few people, they are interested to know something other than what they are experiencing today. They see the world. This is where the Kathopanishad mantra, Pariksha Lokan, comes very important. So there are certain people who have a discerning mind. The mind is brought forward to us from previous birth. So you don't have any choice over your mind. The mind you possess today is a result of the past janmas, according to the Veda. All what we can do is use our current mind to understand what is beyond this world. There is something which is beyond the world, is the promise of the Veda. What the sense organs can perceive is only the gross world of the 5 sense objects. So when a student is ready to understand that his whole life is just a series of actions and results, and the results are not known to him, he may put the efforts, but whether he gets the right result is not in his hands. All of us want to study very well and stand first in the class. But there is only one student who can come out as the first. So all of us, we make attempts in our life to have a happy life. Somewhere at the age of 30 or 40, after marriage, after having children, one comes to realize that there is something unknown about this world. That is the search of a seeker. So if we are all in this boat of seeking, what are we seeking? We are seeking to know the truth about this world. We are seeking to know the truth about our own self. This is how the journey begins. So when we do all these texts, what happens is our mind slowly gets subtler and subtler. The topic of Atma or Brahman is extremely subtle. How to make this gross mind into a subtle mind? Vidyaranya Upanishad gives us a formula. The formula is shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Do these three things, your mind will become subtle. What do I do with the subtle mind? I go back to the Veda, try to understand the Veda again. So in the first round of Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, the mind is not able to appreciate the truth. So there are students who want to go and try this again. Say they do a revision of these texts, and also they do Brahma Sutra also. All the study of listening to the scriptures is called as shravanam. The first step in understanding the Veda. The second step is mananam. Mananam is a process of contemplation on what you have heard. We all hear about Atma, we all hear about Brahman, we hear about Ishvara, we hear about Jiva and Jagat. Now, these topics of Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara is the topic of all what we have studied. If you want to put in a capsule form, right from Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, other texts, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads and Brahma Sutra, if you want to put in a capsule form, all of them are only dealing with three topics. Jiva, who am I? Jagat, what is this world? Ishvara, who is the creator of the world? The central theme of the Veda or the Upanishad is I who consider myself to be the Jiva today, identified with the body and mind, is something different from this body and mind. We call it Atma. That is one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is the creator, Ishvara. Ishvara has created this world, the Jagat. So Jagat is Ishvara's body. Jagat runs through a very fine, intelligent principle, which is the mind of Ishvara. All the principles of gravitation, centripetal force, centrifugal force, digestive force, respiratory force, excretory force, everything in creation are all forces of nature. They're all controlled by the mind of Ishvara, which is called as Hiranya Garbha. All human beings have a gross body and a subtle body. Subtle body is the mind. Gross body, all of us know, which is the shariram, which is perceptible to us. Beyond this gross body and the subtle body, the Veda tells us we have a causal body. And the Lord also has got a causal prapancha. Causal body and causal prapancha. So there are two sides of equation. The Jiva's equation is gross body, subtle body, causal body. Ishvara is gross prapancha, subtle prapancha, and karana prapancha. In depth, we understand this in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads, in the Brahma Sutra. Ultimately, a seeker. What is the seeker supposed to do? The seeker is supposed to negate all of them. Negate the three sharirams, negate the three prapanchas, and then understand there is a reality which is called as Brahman. There is a reality which is a common substratum of the three sharirams and the three prapanchas. The Upanishads teach us to claim this reality as our real nature. It is not an incidental nature. Incidental nature is the three sharirams. Incidental nature of the Ishvara is the three prapanchas. What the Upanishad wants us to really understand is the truth is beyond all this. That X factor is called as Brahman. That is the first lesson of Upanishads. The second lesson of Upanishads is, it tells us that is my nature. That reality is the nature of Ishvara. So the nature of Ishvara, the nature of Jiva is only Brahman. Are you getting the point? I have made it very simple. If you have not understood, re-listen this talk again. You will understand it. Very easy. So the seeker I is told that there is some other truth which is not visible or known by the sense organs. That is called as Brahman. And the seeker is taught, Tattvamasi, you are that. Prajnanam Brahma, that Brahman is of the nature of consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi, when the student understands this truth, contemplates on this truth, he realizes and says, I am that Brahman. And the fourth Mahavakya is, I am Atma Brahma. We have covered three Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, and Aham Brahmasmi. 2 verses each. Swami Vidyaranya devotes for each Mahavakya. 3 Mahavakyas, 6 verses over. We are today going to start the last Mahavakya, which is, I am Atma Brahma. What is the essence of this, all these 8 verses? The essence is, there is no duality. There is no creation, Jagat and Jiva and Ishvara separately. There is only one truth called as Brahman. That is why this chapter is called as Mahavakya Viveka Prakaranam. Viveka means differentiation. The differentiation of the duality which the eyes are perceiving is the analysis done in this chapter. Very beautiful chapter. Panchadasi has got so far, what I know, very beautiful chapters are Panchadasi chapter 5, Panchadasi chapter 10, which we have taken before. There is one more chapter, which is 8th chapter, which I have not studied. I mean, I have studied once, but don't have the notes so far. So these 3 chapters are really brilliant, and they are as good as any other Upanishad in terms of the height of education which it gives. 3 chapters. Chapter 10, chapter 5, chapter 8. These are 3 of my best chapters of Panchadasi. Okay, so let's go to the verse number 7, which we are supposed to start today.
Svaprakasha parokshatvam Svaprakasha parokshatvam Ayamityuktito matam Ayamityuktito matam Ahankaradidehantat Ahankaradidehantat Pratyagatmeti giyate Pratyagatmeti giyate.
All these verses are chanted by Vijaya, one of the participants of this sessions. So verse number 7 deals with Mandukya Upanishad, verse number 7 and verse number 8. 2 verses are taken by Vidyaranya in a capsule form. And he tries to give us the essence behind the whole Upanishad in 2 verses. What are the 2 verses? First of all, let me give you the word meaning of this verse. First, he says the word idam, which means this. This means, he says, it refers to Atma. That is the first aspect of this verse. Next, he says, this Atma is self-luminous. And the next item he says is, it is directly experienced by us, without any medium. Please understand this. This Atma, which is revealed by the Upanishads, is first of all self-luminous, self-effulgent. And it is directly experienced by us without any medium of the world of Panchabhutas or the world of or the other lights which we are used to. None of the sense organs can illumine this Atma. None of the lights like lightning, sunlight, moonlight, the light of the fire, none of that can illumine this Atma. That is the essence of this verse. These are all packed verses. They have a tremendous amount of meaning. Its content of these verses are very, very deep. This Atma is known as Pratyagatma, the inner essence. Inner essence of what? Inner essence of the ego in us and the body. The body is visible, ego is not visible. Body, the inner essence of this body is this ego. I. What is the inner essence of this I? It is this Atma. So much depth is there in these verses. So if I want to know that Atma, do I have to go out? No. Do I have to sit in meditation? No, not required, because it is self-luminous. Don't be in search for Atma in your meditation. At the end of your meditation, if you experience a blankness, tell yourself that blankness is also an object of consciousness. That is how the acharyas have taught us. So this is the essence of the verse number 7. I'll give you a little bit details of it. It refers to Mandukya Upanishad, I am Atma Brahma, the Mahavakya. Vidyaranya is quoting the gist of Mahavakyam in Mandukya Upanishad in this verse. What is that verse in Mandukya Upanishad which talks about a Mahavakyam, which is the Mahavakyam? That is the second verse of Mandukya Upanishad. Sarvam etad Brahma, ayam Atma Brahma, soyam Atma Chatushpat. That is the second verse of Mandukya Upanishad. In this is the beginning of the Mandukya Upanishad, where the Upanishad is trying to define what is Atma and what is Brahman. First of all, it says the whole universe is nothing but Brahman, which is what I said right in the beginning. If you look at the one side of analysis, the Jiva part. Another side of the analysis is Ishvara. Jiva Jagat Ishvara is nothing but Brahman. That is the first thing this Upanishadic mantra says. Then what does it say? It says the inner essence of the Jiva is nothing but Brahman. We call this inner essence as Atma. This Atma is Brahman. That is the Mahavakya. Then it tries to tell us, what is this Atma? What is this Brahman? This Brahman has got 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? That the Upanishad describes in detail in the balanced 10 verses of the Upanishad. Those of you who have done the Mandukya Upanishad, this will be a good revision for them. So, what we have to do is, in Mandukya Upanishad, the process of teaching is, it analyzes the 3 states in which we experience ourself. I experience myself with the physical body in the waking state. I experience myself in the dream state with a subtle body. And in the sleep state, I experience myself with another body called as causal body. So the waker I, the dreamer I, and the sleeper I, these are the 3 experiences which I know today. But the Upanishad says, transcending the waker, transcending the dreamer, transcending the sleeper is the 4th part, the 4th quarter. And that is called as Turiyam Brahma. So, a normal jiva takes himself as this gross body. If you have a slightly more refined mind, you will say, I am not the waker, but I am the dreamer. Some people will say, no, I'm not even the waker and the dreamer. What is all this world? It's nothing, ultimately it's a zero. I'm the sleeper. That is the third. Nothing is there except me. I really enjoy my sleep. Therefore, that is the best day. Upanishads negates all three and says, go beyond the sleep state and see what is that essence which is there in all the three states. First of all, it is transcend. It is transcendent principle. It is beyond. It is not only transcendent, immediately the Upanishad says it is also immanent. Immanent means it is pervading all the three states. See, this Mandukya Upanishad is a very, very subtle, a very, very abstract topic of Turiya, which is explained in 12 verses. Very beautiful Upanishad, like Kena Upanishad. Very beautifully in Kena Upanishad, in about 12, 13 mantras, 8 mantras in the first chapter, 6 mantras in 5 or 6 mantras in the second chapter, 14 mantras, the thing is over, finished. Whole essence of the Upanishads in this, like Kena Upanishad, this is Mandukya Upanishad, like Mandukya Upanishad, this is also like the Kaivalya Upanishad. These are all small, small Upanishads. But they convey the essence in a very beautiful way. One who understands Mandukya Upanishads understands all the Upanishads, says Muktiko Upanishad. What is Muktiko Upanishad? Muktiko Upanishad is one of the minor Upanishads. What is the meaning of major and minor Upanishad? Major Upanishads are the 10 Upanishads where Shankaracharya has written a commentary. There are 108 Upanishads where the actual verses are available today. Those 108 Upanishads, the balance 98 Upanishads are called as minor Upanishads, and they are all taken up also for analysis by some seekers who are very advanced seekers. In one of that, which is called as Muktiko Upanishad, Lord Rama is teaching Advaitam to Lord Anjaneya. And there, in that Upanishad, Anjaneya asks Lord Rama, should I study all 108 Upanishads? It's not possible. To study 2 Upanishads, it takes me 2 years, 3 years. Where 108 Upanishads? Then Lord Rama says, okay, don't do 108, do 8. Then Lord Anjaneya says, even 8 is so difficult, I'm so busy. Then he says, okay, do 1 Upanishad. Then Anjaneya asks him, which is that Upanishad? There in that Upanishad, Muktiko Upanishad, you'll find a verse which says, Mandukya Upanishad, if you do, you know the essence of all the Upanishads. And what is Mandukya Upanishad? 12 verses. And in these 12 verses, the topic, the methodology which is used is Avastha Traya Viveka. This is probably one of the direct ways in which you can realize yourself. Analyze each one of us. You see, we have to do this experiment in ourselves. Upanishadic study can be an academic study. You listen once and then you forget about it. You just know that you don't go into the depth of it. You don't try to understand what is the essence in this Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita. Academically, you can just go read the meaning of the verses, and then you ultimately will say, I don't understand what I have heard. Till you go to the depth of the universe, these verses, and ask the question, is this Upanishad trying to teach me something? If so, what is the teaching? And how can I learn this correctly? All my talks are based on going very deep into the study of these scriptures. I don't want you to have a cursory, just a translation of these verses. No, one can do it very fast. But to apply it to yourself is the essence of all these Upanishads. So what we have to do is analyze who am I with reference to the three states. In the waking state, there is I. In the dream state, there is I. In the sleep state, there is I. There is one common invariable I that is called as Brahman, that is called as Atman. What about the variable I? The variable I is the ego I. What is that ego I? Ego I identifies with the body in the waking state and says, I am so and so. Similarly, in the dream state, the ego I identifies with the subtle body. But beyond this subtle, causal, and the gross body, there is an I which is not varying, it is invariable. And that is indicated as Aksharam. Like in Mundaka Upanishad, the same Aksharam is used. Aksharam means it is imperishable. There is no death to this pure I. The way in the invariable I, there is no death to it because it is always there. If I know that I can never say I will die. Never. Even in your dream, you will never say I will die. You will say that I am always there, which is our experience. What is our intrinsic experience? Our intrinsic experience is I am there. I am there yesterday. I am there 10 years ago. I was there 30, 40 years ago. I was there. I will be there tomorrow. Even when the body is gone, as experienced in the sleep state, do you experience your body in the sleep state? No. You don't experience, but are you there or not? Yes. That I, which is without the body, is our real nature. That I is Aksharam. You have to learn to segregate this. That is the analysis which our intellect has to do. Waker I is not me. Dreamer I is not me. This is what is meditation. Meditation is just not closing the eyes, but closing the eyes and telling yourself, I am not the waker I. I am not the dreamer I. I am not the sleeper I. Who am I? I am the invariable Atma, which is in and through all the three states, and it is Aksharam. Another word for Aksharam is Om. Om iti Brahma. That is the first verse of Mandukya Upanishad. Sarvam iti Om. Everything is what? Nothing else but Om. So in Mandukya Upanishad, Om is a symbol which is used to go deeper into our own selves. Upanishad takes the help of Omkara to reveal my identity as what? As Atma or Brahman. I am Atma. I am not the physical body, I am Atma. I am not the mind, I am Atma. I am not the punya papam of causal body, which takes birth after birth, gives rises to many, many births. I am the Atma, and that Atma is explained in the Upanishads as an immanent principle and as a transcendent principle. These two words are English words, but you have to learn the meaning of this. The meaning of immanent means it is in and through all the bodies. In and through the physical body in the waking state, in and through the dream body in the dream state, causal body in the causal state, which is the sleep state. That is Atma. So right now, who am I? I am Atma. In the sleep, who am I? I am transcendent principle. When I try to analyze myself without the three states, it is called as transcendent. This Atma is a very unique feature. It can remain without the three bodies. It can remain with the three bodies also. Known and unknown. That is the nature of Atma. This is where the subtlety comes. This is where the depth of the Upanishads comes. To understand the nature of our real self, you need a very sharp mind. A sharp mind is developed by repeated study of the scriptures. And one must study repeatedly, but also try to analyze what we are studying. Then you will get then your mind gets the strength to understand the reality, which is called as Brahman. Om consists of three sounds. This is the analysis of Mandukya Upanishad. Akara, Ukara, Makara. Even if you have heard it 30, 40 times, this Mandukya Upanishad, keep your knowledge away right now. Keep your mind empty. Understand the depth as it is being said now. So, Om is Akara, Ukara, Makara. The sound of Akara, Ukara, Makara are coming from silence. And the sound of Om goes back to silence. That silence, can it be described? No, cannot be described. One can only say there is no sound. That is what is silence. But that is a very, that is why we use neti neti. Not this akara, not this ukara, not this makara. What is that? No words can describe. Indriya gocharam, mano agocharam, vak agocharam. We cannot use anything, but it exists. And that something is called as Turiya. So like the sound akara, ukara, makara comes from silence. The silence is the substratum for the Om. Similarly, there is Turiyam, which is the substratum for the whole universe to rise, to sustain, and to resolve. That is called as Turiyam in Mandukya Upanishad. There is a comparison between silence and consciousness. That is what I will go into the depth now. First, I will take the silence part. Then I will take the consciousness part. The silence part, try to understand this, because this is where our intellect has to cross the boundaries of Panchabhutas and then seek the truth. The beginning of Om and the end of Om is silence. Om is measurable, but silence is immeasurable. Akara transforms to Ukara, Ukara transforms to Makara. In the sound O, A, As, U, Ma. When you utter the O, that is how the scriptures describe the sound O. A becomes U becomes Ma. In the end, there is silence. Silence is experienced. Sound exists in the background of silence. Silence manifests as three sounds, but it is different than the three sounds. Therefore, silence is said to be an immanent and transcendent principle. If you understand this, you will understand consciousness very easily. It's easy to understand. You just apply your mind. These notes are brilliant. They are going step by step. Sound is built on silence, not anti-silence. Sound is built on silence, not anti-silence. It is established in silence. Similarly, wave is not anti-water. We are trying to explain the principles of transcendent and immanent. That is why you are getting this analysis, a deeper analysis. Wave is not anti-water. Pot is not anti-clay. Water pervades and transcends the waves. This is the immanent, water is immanent and transcendent principle for the wave. Clay is pervades and transcends the pot. When the pot is broken, still the clay is there. When the wave is broken, water still transcends the wave. Similarly, now we do the analysis of consciousness. We all say aham, aham, I. And we want to know the truth of this I. The Upanishads tells us I comes from Atma. Like you have the sound coming from silence. Similarly, I, the sound I, comes from Atma. I ends in Atma. In the waking state, I say I. In the sleep state, I gone. In the waking state, where is that I coming from? Atma. In the sleep state, where is the I going? Into Atma. Exactly like Om. The sound Om comes from silence, ends in silence. This is meditation. This is the first meditation I taught in my series of meditation talks, which is now going on 105, 103 or something. The first meditation I taught is this Omkara meditation. Repeatedly, 10 times I taught this. 10 times I said, meditate on Omkara, meditate on sound Om. 10 sessions. Where is this Om coming from? Silence. Where is this thought I coming from? Atma. Where is the Om ending? Silence. Where is the I thought ending in sleep state? Atma. That Atma is there before the I comes. That Atma is there after the I goes. What will you infer? That Atma continues during the state when I say I also. That Atma is Turiyam. See, in this beautiful analysis of Omkara and consciousness or Turiyam, we can see a semblance, and that semblance is brought out by the Mandukya Upanishad. The first 6 mantras describe what is the reality, what are the 3 states. Then next, the 7th mantra gives us the definition of Atma in Mandukya Upanishad. From the 8th mantra to the 12th mantra, there is a description of Omkara, how to meditate on Omkara as this Atma. I'm putting all that into a small chart here in 2 pages. So the world is finite, but the substratum is not finite, it is infinite. World is material, it is made up of Panchabhutas. The substratum is not made up of Panchabhutas, it is the spiritual principle, which is an infinite principle. What is the meaning of infinite? Infinite is something which is beyond time. It is something which is beyond space. Beyond time and space, there is existence of only one reality. That reality is Turiyam Brahma. In the waking state, that I which is identified with the physical body is given a name Vishwa. Vishwa. This is a term used in Mandukya Upanishad. Typically used in Mandukya Upanishad. It's a technical word. This I identifies with the subtle body. It is called as Taijasa. The I which identifies with the causal body is called as Prajna. So Vishwa transforms to Taijasa, and Taijasa transforms to Prajna. Prajna experiences nothing. Vishwa experiences the gross world. That is our whole life. Our life is a cycle of 3 states: waking, dream, sleep. But beyond these 3 states, there is something which is called as Brahman or Atma or consciousness, Chaitanya. And that Chaitanya is always there in the background of the 3 states. That Chaitanya manifests as the waker, it manifests as a dreamer, it manifests as the sleeper. Manifest means what? Appears. It appears. What is that Chaitanya? Pure consciousness. And what does it appear as? Waker. All of us. There is a common name to you and me, and that name is waker. This waker is a appearance. Appearance means what? It's like a reflection in a mirror. In the mind mirror, these 3 states are coming and going. Mind is a mirror. In that mirror, consciousness is manifesting as these 3 eyes: Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. When these 3 eyes are gone, which are reflections in the mind, what remains? The original consciousness still remains. That is what is the realization. So beyond the waker, dreamer, and sleeper, the Turiyam, which is different from the waker, different from the dreamer and the sleeper, it is that immanent principle and transcendence. Again, what is the meaning of immanent? Something which comes always in every state. In the waker, consciousness is there. In the dreamer, consciousness is there. In the sleeper, consciousness is there. That is the immanent principle. What is the transcendent principle? This consciousness is not only in the three states, but it is beyond all that also. Beyond means what? Transcendent. Why is that? That is the nature. That is the nature of that consciousness. That is why we say that this light of consciousness is something which is aware of the world in the waking state. It is not aware of the world in the sleep state. But it exists as itself in the which state? All the states. It is always there. As what? Transcendent. So the mind, our intellect has to use these two principles to come to the core of our personality. If you have understood these two words, you have understood the whole Mandukya. So the waker, dreamer, and sleeper are established on consciousness. Consciousness pervades and transcends the three states. Therefore, consciousness is what gives life, and it reveals the waker, dreamer, and sleeper. It is a revealing factor. It is a revealing factor. Means what? It makes the body and the world known. Keno Upanishad has got a Mahavakya, Pratibodha Viditam Matham. Chapter 2, verse number 4 of Keno Upanishad. I'm taking that Keno Upanishad in the Saturday classes. That's why I remember that. Same principle is explained here. What we are saying as immanent and transcendent is explained in that Keno Upanishad, chapter 2, verse number 4. I'll be expanding on that mantra in this Saturday, coming Saturday. Meditate and contemplate on this Omkara. As you chant Om, what you do? You transcend the waker, dreamer, and sleeper. Chant Om at the background. You remember your waking experiences, dream experiences, sleep experiences. It is a meditation. When you experience the dream world, what happens? You forget the waking world. When you experience the waking world, what happens? You forget the dream world. And when you experience the sleep world, what happens? Forget both waking and dream. That is the magic show of the mind. It is the Maya Shakti. That Maya Shakti is, can we say it is a part of Brahman? Can we say it belongs to Brahman? Maya Shakti is immanent and it is transcendent. It is in and through the three states. It is beyond the three states. So we should not stop with the analysis of our mind, but we have to go deeper into the consciousness which exists beyond the mind. I am Atma Brahma is Swaprakasha Aparoksha Brahma. I will explain to you what is these three terms. Swaprakasha means what? Self-effulgent. Aparoksham Brahma means what? It is not pratyaksha and it is not paroksha. Pratyaksha means what? When I see the object, any object with my sense organs, it is called as pratyaksha, prati aksha. It is in front of the aksham. Aksham means sense organs. Anything which is in front of the sense organs, the five sense organs, sound, touch, smell, all these are what? Pratyaksham. What is paroksham? Paroksham means it is beyond the eyes, beyond the five sense organs. I can't see it, I can't hear it, I can't smell it. That is paroksham. Not cognizable, cognized by the sense organs. Right now, it is not cognized. Himalayas, Niagara Falls. That is it. It is not it is not in front of the sense organs. So what is not in front of the sense organs, not which is not which is in front and not which is not in front, what can that be? That can be, you see, what is in front and what is not in front are all objects. So pratyaksham and paroksham refers to objects, and they are cognized by the mind, either today or later. That Niagara Falls, when I go and see it, it becomes pratyaksham. So aparoksham means what? It is not directly known as an object, but it is the subject. It is the self-effulgent subject, which is not known through sense organs. It is not an object at all at any time. It is neither paroksham, it is not pratyaksham. The only thing we can say is it is the subject I. So we don't require any light to know this consciousness, because it is self-effulgent. I will continue this slide number 112 next week, and hopefully I will try and finish it next week, this Mandukya Upanishad, either next week or the following week. I'm not sure how much time it will take, because I'm going a little bit slow so that you are able to pick up the essence of these mantras. So there will be a slight gap after this chapter number 5. I will stop for some time. The Wednesday classes, that is from 15th of May, there won't be any classes for 4 weeks. Anyway, there's a long time for that. So right now, next week, we are going to continue slide number 112. We will finish this chapter 5 in about 2 sessions, preferably 1 or 2, I'm not sure. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudacchade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are no messages in the chat board. So if any of you have any questions, you can ask now. Yeah, Chandra?
You want to say anything? Yeah, I'm going to ask him. When you say, what do you call it, earlier you said about the Brahma, what is Turiya?
Yeah.
When we say Turiya, what it actually means?
Turiya actually in Sanskrit, Turiya means the 4th state.
Fourth theta.
Yeah,
There is
it means the fourth state. That is the meaning of Turiyam. But Shankaracharya explains fourth means, it doesn't mean it is fourth only with reference to the three states.
yeah.
But you learn it as a fourth state in the beginning. Later on, yeah, Turiyam, you first learn it as the fourth state. You know, it's a pure state of consciousness in which the world is not there. That is the first lesson.
First lesson, okay.
Yeah, that's the first lesson. Then the second lesson is, it is not the fourth state by independently existing by itself, but it is also in the three states along with the medium. You see, for example, the sunlight is there appearing as the moonlight. So when you're looking at the moonlight, you will say, I'm seeing the moonlight.
Yeah.
But when the moonlight is there, the sun is there or not? Sun is there.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Similarly, when the waking state is there, the Turiyam is there or not? It is there. But it is not visible to us. Our eyes cannot know that, cannot know that Turiyam.
But how to meditate then?
See, the meditation is when you are sitting in meditation, what you do is let your thoughts go and say, I am not the waker.
Oh.
Deliberately say it. The Chandra who is sitting in meditation is telling herself, I am not the waker Chandra. I am not the dreamer Chandra. I am not the sleeper Chandra. Chandra is a name associated with these three states.
Okay.
But I exist as Turiyam. I am Turiyam. Turiyam means Chaitanya. That's all. Full stop. There is nothing beyond that.
Okay.
Consciousness. You see, the term consciousness is what is Turiyam.
Yeah.
So this consciousness is the natural state of mind.
Oh.
What about the waker Chandra and the dreamer Chandra and the sleeper Chandra? It is the incidental nature. It is not the intrinsic nature.
Okay.
So that Chandra which is born is born in what? It is born in time. Time is Vyavahara.
Oh.
But beyond this time, there is another truth which is called as Turiya.
Okay. But we are not able to relate. We are not able to relate so well with that.
Yeah, correct. That is because our mind is very gross still. You know, the mind is still trying to objectify. The moment you stop objectifying and say, I am that, you will realize the truth within a split second.
Okay, okay.
Don't objectify it. Don't try to bring it in front.
Okay, okay, okay.
Stop objectifying it. I'm not seeing something. Don't say I'm not seeing it something. I am that.
I am that.
I am that. Tattwamasi is what the teacher has taught me.
Yeah, right.
Tattwamasi, that means that consciousness principle which I'm trying to again objectify. Where is that? Where is that? When you say where is that, it means you're trying to identify. Identify means what? Again, you're coming back to the world of time and space.
You must own it as it is yours.
That's correct. Own it yourself. I am consciousness. That is what is known as claiming. The moment you have learned how to claim it, then the Upanishad class is over for you. There is no more classes for you. Finished. You don't have to attend any more classes because you have owned up that consciousness as yourself, which is the end result of all our study. Beyond that, there is nothing. You don't need to attend any class. At any time, anybody asks you, you know that you are consciousness. You don't have to justify it to anybody else. And this is what you should try to identify with in the morning when you get up.
Correct.
It is easy to do it early morning when you get up. I am that consciousness. It's so easy. Before any thought comes, a thought rises from this consciousness. And it can be easily experienced. I'm telling you, it is possible. This is the essence of Pratasparana Slokam, which you had explained in one of the sessions in 8 years ago in the Chinmaya mission. You took up that mantra.
Yeah, right. Dawn.
Yes. At dawn, what do you say? In that dawn, you say, I am Turiya Chaitanya, in which there is no world. There is really no world in that Turiya. It alone is. There is only one reality. It is Advaita. Advaita means it is non-dual.
Non-dual, huh?
Non-dual. There is nothing. All this duality, the world, and all the experiences, all of them are only appearances. They are incidental. They are not the truth. What is the truth? I am the truth. I am only consciousness. I am only awareness. All the time, actually, I'm only awareness.
Right.
Whenever I try to become a Chandra, or try to become a Sornam, or try to become a Jacqueline or Sumana, I am going away from my nature. I am falling down from my higher nature of pure consciousness. I am going down into the world, but don't get carried away by it. You see, what the Upanishad says is that is a part and parcel of our life. It will continue. There is so, but whenever you are away from that Turiyam nature, don't get carried away by the problems of the world. Learn to disidentify and come back to your green room and say, I am pure consciousness. Because that is what the Upanishad is trying to reveal to you. Once you have understood this truth, it is only cognitive learning. That consciousness, see, please note this point.
Okay.
Consciousness is the only light in which the material world is coming and going. The material world is the body. The material world is the world of the sun, moon, stars, Panchabhutas. They are appearing in Jagrat Avastha. They are not there in the Sushupti Avastha. Sushupti Avastha, the sleep state, is also 8-hour phenomena. It is not a 8-second phenomena.
No.
For 8 hours in your lifetime, every day, you don't experience the world.
No.
Whole world, whole Jagat, including the including the stars, the moons, you don't experience it. But again, it comes. What the Upanishads, especially Mandukya Upanishad, is saying is that in consciousness, in the light of consciousness, this Chidabhasa is appearing, disappearing. For many lifetimes, you see, the Chidabhasa, once you have learned the methodology of seeing this truth, once you have seen the truth, it will remain permanent with you. That is where your intellect has to learn the art of knowing the truth. Learn how to drop the identification with this physical body, subtle body, causal body. And say, I am the Turiyam, I am the Turiyam, I am the pure consciousness. And if you practice it for a few times, I tell you for sure, you will never ever forget this truth. Never. Even at the worst possible, happenings in your life, you will always be able to come out of it and say, oh, this is just a passing phase. That's all.
Passing cloud.
Yes, it is just a passing phase. It is an experience which is given to me, given to the physical body.
Yeah.
By God. It is a karma phala. You see, a karma has been done. The whole experience of the waking is explained by the law of karma.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chandra.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll meet next week. We'll continue the 7th and the 8th verse. That will be the end of the chapter 5. A very beautiful chapter. I'm very glad all of you have attended it. Thank you and see you next week. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.